I have more coaches than anyone in the country, and we can't get a star on the field. He wasn't talking about superstar players. That was Kirby Smart during the spring. Somebody who was at practice was talking to me about this the other day, talking about how he was getting frustrated with getting a defensive back, one of the stars, on the field. And, Kirby's talked a lot about his coaching staff and how important they are, how good they are, and they are good, by the way. Talking about how he's got the best staff in the country. And I'm not, I wouldn't be smart enough to dispute that. But I'll say this: have you ever been to a practice or around practices at all when he's got that microphone going? I mean, the stray bullets are, I don't even know if they're stray bullets in this case. And this guy is coming for everybody, including the coaches. But why wouldn't he be coming for everybody? I mean, you're talking about an athletic department that has over a $200 million budget, almost $250 million budget. And the star of that show is unquestionably the football program, as it is at every SEC school and probably every major college program that's not North Carolina and Kentucky. I mean, football is the beating heart of collegiate athletics, and everything that we've got going on today in collegiate athletics is because of the change that's come from that. And when Kirby's talking about that, kind of getting on the microphone again now. So just so you know, so there's a couple of different places that Georgia practices, and everybody practices in two different places typically. A lot of people, they practice just in their practice facility, and then they go to their stadium. I mean, people practice at their stadium. Georgia has an indoor facility as well, so they have it's really two places that they practice, two locations, but it's really the indoor facility is not outdoors. You can't hear Kirby so much with the indoors. In fact, I don't think you can. Outdoors and at the stadium, you certainly can hear him. But this was some folks who were, at one of the scrimmages earlier this year, and they were just remembering how on not just the players. So a lot of the time you'll hear about. Well, you will literally hear it sometimes with Kirby, but you'll hear people sort of when you talk to folks, sometimes they've never been to a practice at all, or they've never been to a practice. Like these are business people or whatever, and they're not used to uh, practices. To be honest with you, I can assure you that Dan Schmatzer at Coker College was a complete lunatic at times about things. But when you want an outcome, the only way to do things is the right way all the time. And if you don't go hard in practice and you think you can just turn it on in the games, you'll overcompensate. There's a lot of problems. And frankly, you will not have had enough good practice time to get the good outcome you want in games. It's not magic. So when Kirby's talking like this, he's right. I mean, there should not be flaws from the coaching staff out there. Now, there should not be, but there are. I mean, these guys are human, and, sort of the comments section is going to do what they do about that. But let's not forget that this is a very accomplished coaching staff when you think about, Glenn Schumann, Trey Scott, Stacy Searles. These are all guys that have won national championships with Kirby. I mean, it's not, so there's that. And then B, Kirby's picking these guys. Like, he's choosing them. They're not being made to go against their will. Speaking of money, I was talking about money a little bit. We got a great deal for you for insider access, stuff like this I'm talking about and writing about over on Dawg Post. Make sure you're signing up today. I'm going to put the link down below. It's 3 months of Dawg Post for the price of one, and you get our 2025 preview, which I've got a conversation with Mike Bobo and some other things about Gunnar Stockton in that. So make sure you're grabbing it. It's also going to be available at Red Zone. If you just want the magazine, you can go pop in there probably by the 4th of July. It will be there. If you are a subscriber at Dawg Post, an annual subscriber, you'll be getting it in the mail. Easy enough for me to say. Somewhere around a little bit after July 4th for the subscribers. People who have bought it online will get it a little bit earlier than that. Long story there. There are some machinations with mailing lists that I always have to deal with. But I think that when you are demanding particular things from a coaching staff, I left out several people. I mean, it occurs to me Todd Hartley has been on staff at Georgia for some time now. But these guys, that you've got to be able to deal with the pressure that comes from being an assistant coach under Kirby Smart. Nick, I think, was pretty tough. Kirby Kirby's pretty tough too. A lot of these guys, Uzo Deribe, Stacy, Uzo Deribe, Trey Scott, Schumann, Todd Hartley. These guys have all won national championships with Kirby as the coach. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong about that. I don't think I am. So they know what it takes to get this done. And this staff, the two guys that are getting the most grief right now are, is certainly Mike Bobo with a bullet, and then probably Stacey Searles right after that. I think James Coley gets some grief too. I don't think it's noticeable, comparatively speaking. No one's going to talk about Hartley and Scott or Schumann. Those guys have done a really good job, but Bobo could be just as good as them, and nobody knows it because nobody knows enough about the situation. Yada yada yada. So, I don't, having been around the program for extended period of time, it's just commonplace. That microphone. Kirby holds it typically. I've seen them do different stuff different times. It is always very fascinating to hear that, because when media is at practice and then you leave, even before people leave, even before we leave, he kind of gets it going, and nobody is spared. It's everybody, and it could be Schumann, it could be Crawford, it could be Hartley, it could be Bobo, it could be Coley, it could be anybody. It could be student. It often is student managers. It's players. It's anybody. You're not going to dodge the bullet if he wants it a particular way and he's demanding that thing. I don't. Kirby Smart has done such a good job at Georgia. That does not mean he's without fault. And but it seems like a lot of times I get on here and talk about stuff that paints him in a good way. But I have to say that if there's been somebody better, particularly over this last half decade in college football, I don't know who that is. Nick did not have the 4 or the 5 years that he has had in this decade. Nick did not have the time that Kirby's had. Kirby's won the league twice, which Nick did. Nick won it 3 times, 2021, 23. And then, but he didn't win 2 national championships. He missed the playoff in 22. So the only person you could compare him to is Nick. But at the end of the day, that one win in Indianapolis, was made for a better 5 years for Kirby. 2 national championships, 2 SEC championships in the last 4 years. So as disappointing as 2024 was, and it was. It's the strange thing is that was a disappointing season for Georgia, and they won the league. They beat Texas twice. There was a lot that Georgia accomplished last year that a lot of other really good teams didn't. Penn State didn't win their league. Clemson won their league and got beat by 30 points by Georgia. Texas got to the semifinals. They didn't win their league. They didn't beat Georgia. They lost to them twice. It was crazy. 2 of their 3 losses were to Georgia. I'm thinking about the people in the playoff. Indiana, give me a break. Notre Dame had a great season. Of course, they can't win the conference. Certainly, I think Notre Dame had a better season than Georgia. Ohio State had a better season than Georgia. Ohio State had a better playoff than Georgia. I don't know if they had a better season than Georgia, but they had a better playoff. Oregon, they won their league, and they were one and done just like Georgia. So, we're talking about a select group of teams. And with the House settlement coming through Friday night, I don't know that that's going to change a lot now that NIL is certainly and has been here to stay. But now we've got some guardrails. I don't know that that's good news for anybody that's not in the top echelon of teams: Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, Michigan, Texas. I guess Penn State. I don't know. But if you're not in that group, if you're in SMU. SMU may be the one weird team that can try. But there's only so many spots for SMU and Miami. This has very much become a zero-sum game, and I think that's why college football has always been a zero-sum game. I'll say that. But for someone to be as demanding as Kirby, for someone to, you need to see results too. And I think that you have seen the results. I think that 23, losing the way they did to Alabama, losing the wrong game, basically, by 3 points, that was a tough loss right there. I'm not sure they've had tougher losses than that lately. But that was a tough one because that probably cost them a national championship, just straight up, and a three-peat. I mean, there's not been three-peats. So instead of a three-peat, now you're going 2 years without playing for it, playing a national championship game. So, and the other question too, to some degree, is, where are we in the Kirby Smart, pantheon of time? His youngest son, his oldest children are college age now. His younger son, I think, is 11 or 12. I don't see him stopping anytime soon. I think that there are guardrails that have come out now and have sort of, once they get the portal down to once a season, now that we have guardrails and rules for NIL and stuff like that, and that's going to make things a little more settled down. It got a little bit nuts for a while there, particularly in 23 and 24. So now that that's happened, I think that helps the Dabos, the Kirbys, the Sarks of the world, to be honest with you. Ryan Day, I guess Brian Kelly, I don't know. I said LSU early. Is that Clemson LSU game? I mean, that's going to seem like a huge game in that moment. I know I'll be glued to the TV screen. But, the next day, I don't know if Brian Kelly needs a good season. I think Dabo does too, to be honest with you. But, we'll just see. I mean, that field goal kick, Syracuse beating Miami, and then that field goal kick to SMU, it beats SMU. Man, I'm not sure a coach has had a better 7 days lately than Dabo had at that period of time, because that was really important. I mean, if they don't play for the ACC championship, they're not in the playoff. I mean, they're not going to get in. South Carolina would have gotten in. So, or someone, Ole Miss, I don't know. Not South Carolina. It wouldn't have been South Carolina. It would have been Ole Miss, probably. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at it. But it wouldn't have been Clemson. And so, but the Fates have a strange way of looking and doing things. And, Kirby's not trying to worry about luck or anything like that. He's demanding things. That's what you see and you hear. And, that's why he's coming at practice. You better be ready. Better have that head on a swivel.